In 2015, humans demolished the planet's environment and caused global warming. To fix this problem, scientists make an electronic cooling material which is mixed into the air. It does reduce the harmful heat, however, it also causes a strange ice storm to hit the planet. Luckily, a well-known genius scientist named Wilford has made a train powered by a special engine that will continuously travel around the Earth. All remaining people on the Earth now live in this train, and those who willingly jump out die immediately from freezing. Unfortunately, class system also exists in this small association, and the train coaches are designed accordingly. Higher classes at the front, middle classes at the back, and the poverty people in the tail section. 15 years later, the army guards bring food items for the poor people, consisting of some awful protein bars. Everyone must settle to receive it, but Curtis doesn't sit until a guard threatens to arrest him. Curtis explains to his friend Edgar that he has counted the coaches because he's planning to run and sneak throughout the train to enter the engine room. The guard then asks if there is any experienced pianist in the group, and an old couple volunteers because they used to be music professors. The police guard tries to just take Gerald because they only need one pianist, but Gerald refuses to go without his wife all alone. This causes the police guard to break her hand and beat up the lady before dragging her partner away. Soon after, Curtis visits Tanya and her son Timmy to ask the kid to exchange his protein bar. Curtis finds a small capsule with a coded message in it, which he takes to Gilliam, an old man who sits next to a wall with the Wilford logo on. The paper says Nom, the name of a security guard from the prison section of the train. Curtis wants to eagerly find the police guard so he can get help for raising rebellions on a train, so Gilliam helps Curtis in locating out their possible options. That night, while everyone is sleeping, a bunch of police guards arrive with Wilford's newly appointed agent Claude, who immediately starts measuring all small children with a measuring tape. Soon Claude comes across Tanya and moves her dress to find little Timmy hiding there, so Timmy tries to escape as his mom screams in fear. However, the police guards beat Tanya up to shut her up and capture Timmy. After some more measurements, Claude takes little Timmy and Andrew's son Andy. A very upset Andrew shouts and throws a black shoe at Claude, so the police guards immediately hold him down. Later, young Franco and old Franco undress him and put his arm through a hole in the train, causing him to scream loudly in deadly pain at the freezing temperature. Then high-class minister Mason arrives and makes an abusive speech to scold the poor passengers for their mischievous behavior. She puts the dirty shoe on top of Andrew, asking everyone to obey the orders. Then guards take in Andrew's arm, which is frozen completely, and break it with a giant hammer forcefully. For the next few days, the poor people started working hard on putting small explosives together to make a tool that would help them in the revolution. Curtis also obtains some highly flammable gas balls. Then he thinks of a coded message by Manson talking about the shortage of bullets in guards' weapons. While everyone is working, the old artist of the group makes a portrait of all the crucial moments, and he gifts Tanya and Andrew a drawing of their family. A week later, the alarm system suddenly goes off and everyone assembles to get in line against the police guards. Their hand bomb is ready to create a massive distraction for guards, and they start shouting in protest for the nasty protein bars. Furious, a guard grabs a weak old man and tries to shoot him, so Curtis comes forward and pulls the trigger, but nothing happens, so Edgar shouts that the guns are empty and have no bullets, so chaos breaks out. Soon they take forward the machine that turns out to be a giant block of pipes with wheels, which the rebellion start pushing through the next compartments of the train with Curtis sitting on top of it. A massive fight breaks out between the armed guards and the people. Soon, rebels easily overpower them. Suddenly a strong bulky guard tries to stop them from entering the next compartment, however Gray jumps on top of him and quickly cuts him up, stealing the main key. Then rebels easily reach the prison compartment, where prisoners are actually kept in a steel box on the walls. Using the stolen keys, they manage to release the data security chief Nom, who is a drug addict. After grabbing a security device from the box, Curtis explains he needs his help getting through the security doors in the following train cars, and he can pay Nom with healthy food bars. Nom smokes a cigar as he thinks about it. Everyone starts watching him in shock because they haven't seen cigars available on the train for over the past 20 years. The little kid tries to steal it. After a lot of thought, Nom throws the last cigar into the crowd and everyone starts fighting for it. Nom also joins the crowd, but Curtis pulls him over. Then Nom takes the keys and opens another box containing his child little Yona, who is also a drug addict. Nom agrees to help if both of them get 2 food bars for each door security. Curtis cuts the deal, and soon Nom starts working on the door's wire system. Soon Nom opens the doors and the group rushes to the next compartment. Someone from the group opens the window cover and everyone is amazed to see the sunlight again after almost 1 decade. They were shocked to see the world outside was covered in deep snow and every city was completely frozen in deep ice. Soon Nom begins working on the next compartment's door. Then group is astonished to see Paul, an old member of their poor group who is now climbing and jumping around the trains like a monk. Everyone was amazed to see him like that, so everyone looked around and suddenly noticed these were the machines that made their protein bars. Paul confesses he was brought here to make protein bars for them. Curtis takes a deep look inside the roller, only to discover that the main ingredients for making the protein bars are dead rats. Suddenly Curtis finds another capsule and finds the word water, so Paul narrates to them that the water supply is a few cars up. They came up with an idea to control the water, and if they can control the water supply they control the negotiation. While Nom works on opening the next door, Curtis chats with Yona and learns that she was born on the train. Curtis tells her he comes from the outside world but doesn't remember anything anything before the train starts. Suddenly Yona yells not to open the doors, but unfortunately it's too late. The door opens and reveals a room full of security armed men with axes in their hands. Soon the rebels aren't afraid anymore and run forward, causing a heavy fight to start. Both sides quickly begin losing their team members as they kill each other without mercy. Both Edgar and Curtis kill lots of masked men, but suddenly Curtis slips. Guards try to kill him when he's on the floor, but Edgar jumps on guard to kill him. In front of the coach, major of the guards announced the bridge they will cross soon. Unfortunately, a layer of deep ice has formed on the track. Suddenly the train shakes like crazy. After the bridge passes by, eventually everyone stands up to fight again as a police guard announces to fight back. Soon they got interrupted when Francos and Mason entered the coach. She threatens to kill every person from each family. She rather added rebels are so ungrateful for the shelter and food that Wilford has been giving them all these years. In anger, Curtis throws a hammer at her, but it gets blocked by them. Suddenly Mason and her guards held up to a special night vision binoculars which made Curtis confused. But little Yona explains that there's a long dark tunnel coming up. Soon the train enters the tunnel and the coach goes dark, but guards taking advantage of their vision soon start killing the rebels. Rebels continue to die, but Curtis remembers something and he yells for Chan to start for fire. Soon he and Andrew are guiding a group of rebels with lots of torches that they bring into the dark car and giving them the upper hand. Gray kills a high-level officer and continues to fight, throwing a knife to stab Mason in the leg. Curtis runs towards Mason but is not able to save Edgar. Sadly, Franco kills Edgar with a knife. As soon as Curtis grabs Mason, she orders everyone to stop fighting back. Furious, Franco tries to kill Curtis, but Yona blocks his way and stabs him with a sharp metal rod. After the group captures Mason, they take control of the water supply coach. Tanya and Andrew hurt Mason to make her talk, but Mason only knows that the children are taken to Wilford. Curtis threatens her, saying he will turn off the water supply. However, Mason laughs as she explains the main water supply is controlled from the front of the train. Curtis is ready to kill her, but Mason tries to convince him and guarantees him a safe passage. That night the group decides to rest, but Curtis and Gilliam stay up discussing the next upcoming move. Doesn't happy with the death of his fellow friends, Curtis decides to go alone and orders Gilliam to watch over the group and the prisoners. The next morning, Curtis leaves with Andrew, Tanya, Gray, Nam, and Yona, always keeping a handcuffed Mason in front of them. The first coach they enter is an artificial greenhouse where fruits and vegetables are grown for the upper class. Nam gives Yona some soil because she never touched it before. Following the next coach is a giant aquarium, and Mason offers the rebel group to have some sushi. Mason tries to eat some sushi too, but Curtis stops her and makes her eat a protein bar instead, looking at her face because she knows how it is made. After passing through the butcher coach, they enter a classroom full of screaming children. Andrew and Tanya immediately ask for their missing kids using the portraits, so the boy tells them they were taken further in the train next coach. Next, the teacher plays piano and narrates a movie that teaches the children they'll freeze and die if the train ever stops moving. As the train passed by, they came across 7 frozen statues that turned out to be bodies of humans trying to escape the moving train. Soon a man comes in with a cart filled with warm eggs. Both the rebels and the children grab eggs to eat, while Gerald shows up to play the violin for the children. Curtis finds a capsule in the egg with a note that says blood. When the cart man reaches another coach, both the teacher and he pull guns out of the piles of eggs and begin shooting. Everyone hides for cover, but sadly the teacher kills Andrew and Gray ends her with a sharp knife. Mason tries to shoot Curtis, but he kicks the gun out of her hand. Right after that, a live video stream appears on the classroom's TV. This shows the cart man has killed all the rebels. Furious, Curtis gets his revenge by killing Mason. The group keeps going, and in the following few coaches, they find the fancy people using all kinds of services like beauty salons, tailors, and doctors. The group crosses a spa before reaching a cabin, where they hide in it before 2 guards and Franco catch up to them. Franco opens a cabin and kills a rich passenger. Soon Gray jumps out to kill the police guard and stabs Franco. As the fight begins, Curtis comes out to shoot Franco and shoots him down. In return, Franco also shoots at Curtis's arm. Then Tanya tries to attack Franco too, but he just shoots her down. Next, Franco and Curtis start fighting hand to hand, and unfortunately, after lots of struggle, Franco knocks Curtis out. Then Franco attempts to murder Curtis but fails because Gray jumps in. This time Franco overpowers Gray quickly and stabs him down. When Franco opens another cabin, he finds Nam hiding behind a girl, making him fight again. As Nam tries to push Franco down and begins choking him, Yona comes out for help and grabs the blade to kill him. Curtis awakens and stabs Franco from the side. Then Curtis checks on Tanya and her beloved daughter's portrait before she dies. Soon group started moving towards the other coach and came across a loud party hall full of addicts. Yona steals some alcohol for her father. Next, after crossing a bridge, they go through a computer coach and finally make it to Wilford vault door. Suddenly Yona fails to ground because she is too drunk. Nam demands more food bars and starts negotiating with him to open the final vault, which makes Curtis even more furious. Nam fights him to come down and then gives him the last cigar on earth, which Curtis enjoys while sharing his past story. Curtis tells him how painful it was for the last many years to stay alive on this train. Sometimes they have to kill each other to survive on a limited food supply. This made Nam confesses his mistake and asks Curtis for the explosives they had carried all along from their coaches. Soon he made an explosive bomb to blow off the door. Suddenly the door opens and Claude comes out and shoots Nam. He invites Curtis for dinner together with Wilford and removes the explosive from the vault. Curtis comes inside and finally meets Wilford, who tells Curtis is the only first person to have been able to cross the total length of this train because he's never been to the backside of the train. Then Wilford tells about the importance of ecological imbalance, but since natural selection would have taken too long years ago, he made a deadly plan. It turns out Gilliam and he has been working together all along to control the population on the train. He also tells Curtis should have lost a few coaches back, but he got luck. To fix the balance in a train, Wilford calls the guard and orders him to kill all the remaining poor people in the back. The sound of screams and gunshots comes through the phone. Meanwhile, Franco wakes up in the back car and simply pulls out the blade. Outside, Nam quickly fights back with the party guard and pushes him into the train's basement to kill him. Soon more guards come towards him. To hold them back, Nam blocks the bridge while telling Yona to open the door. Back inside, Wilford brings Curtis into the main engine room so he can have a moment alone. Overwhelmed, Curtis drops to his knees and cries. As of now, Wilford wants Curtis to take his place as leader of the train. Outside, Franco suddenly appears and starts shooting at Yona, but soon she opens the door. When Claude comes out to investigate, Yona kills her and takes her gun, firing it at Franco until she runs out of ammunition. But Franco is still alive, so Nam tells Yona to get the explosive back from Claude and the matches from Curtis. When Yona reaches inside and holds out her hand, Curtis pushes her away as he is being manipulated by Wilford. Grabbing a fork, she lifts a floor tile to reveal little Timmy working in the engine room. Wilford explains that they have had a shortage of machine parts through the years, so now he uses kids as replacements. Angerously, Curtis jumps on Wilford to beat him up, then he painfully reaches into the floor tile to stop the engine blades and get hurt and gives Yona the light. Outside, Nam kills Franco and Yona lights up the explosive, and Curtis pushes through the pain of breaking his hand to stop the engine again so that Timmy can come out of danger. Then the group runs to hug as the bomb explodes, blowing up the train. Soon it also causes a giant avalanche that pours down on the train. The train goes off the track and the coaches begin to fall one by one until the front jams into the snow and finally makes a stop. Moments later, Yona and Timmy wake up in the coach surrounded by flames and the dead bodies of anybody else. Then they go outside and watch a polar bear as they realize that they won't freeze to death.
Subscribe to Universal Recaps and turn on notifications for regular updates. Give a thumbs up if you like our content.